Hello everybody, welcome back to another stream. This one is a super fun one. We have a lot of members of the team here today to answer loads of your questions, and of course talk about 2021 and talk about what's in store for the future of Infinite Flight in this year, 2022. It's more of a podcast style stream today. There's not going to be any flight alongside all of us talking here, but we're really just going to have a chit chat, answer your questions, and really just have a great time here today and answer as many questions as we can. But alongside me today we have Cam, Jason, Laura, Philippe, Tyler, and Kai. Kai's new here. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the stream.
Hey, Dan.
Hello.
Hey, Dan.
Hello, Dan.
Welcome.
Hello.
Hey.
265 people watching live right now. Awesome stuff.
Welcome,
stuff.
everybody.
Thank you for tuning in, everyone. So, I guess right off the bat, I feel like, Kai, I do apologize. I don't want to drop you in the deep end here, but you're new around here. Maybe introduce yourself. Say hello.
Yep. So hey everyone, I'm Kai. I'm the newest developer at Infinite Flight. I'm from Melbourne, Australia. And yeah, I've been basically working on our website, looking at the user guide, and some other cool stuff that we've got in the works. But yeah, hopefully going forward, doing a bit of everything when it comes to development.
Awesome, great job.
Hi, what time is it there?
It is currently 4 a.m.
Damn. Crazy.
That's,
what are you doing here?
That's quite early. That's quite early. The dedication is real.
It's worth it.
Exactly. Maybe we'll start from the top left then. Cam. What's up, Cam? Would you like to introduce yourself to those who may not know who you are?
Hey Dan, good to be back again. I think it's only been like a month since we've done one of these, just before Christmas. But for those of you who don't know me, I'm Cam. I'm one of the developers working at Infinite Flight. I do a bit of everything, anything from servers to the app to airports, a little bit of everything really. So you probably see me around on the forum when things are broken or around updates.
Nice. Awesome stuff.
Yeah.
Jason, over to you.
Hold on a second. Tyler, did you just subscribe to our channel?
I noticed that.
I think it was unsubscribed when we were testing something, and I realized I couldn't comment in the chat. So
Oh, okay.
now we're
Fair.
good.
Yeah, hey, I'm Jason, and I am calling in from near Toronto, Ontario, in Canada. And I'm on our marketing team here at Infinite Flight. So anything that you see on our blog or social media or video work, I've probably at least had my hand in it. And yeah, happy to be here chatting with everybody.
Awesome. Good to have you back, Jason. Laura, over to you.
Hey, so my name's Laura. I'm CEO, co-founder of Infinite Flight, and been on a few of those streams with Dan. Let me just adjust the volume.
Need more volume from you, Laura.
Is it better?
There we go. Yes.
It's better, yeah. Or cowbell.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. So Laura, CEO, co-founder of Infinite Flight with Philippe here. And I've been on the streams with Dan a few times. And I work on a whole bunch of things on the sim, ranging from the airplanes, the flight model, ATC, scenery editor, instruments, UI. Yeah, pretty much all that.
Don't bother listing it, Laura. It's so much.
Awesome stuff.
Yeah.
Philippe.
Well, hello everybody. Dan, thank you for putting this together. I'm Philippe. I am a co-founder of Infinite Flight with Laura, and mostly do the low-level stuff, so graphics, engine performance, optimizations, and all the shiny thing with also with Kevin, who's unfortunately not on this call. That's it.
He's too shy.
Thank you, Philippe. Tyler, over to you.
Thanks for having me. My name's Tyler Shelton. I'm the Air Traffic Control Community Manager for Infinite Flight, and I've had the pleasure of being here for many, many years, watching the sim develop and grow, and get to lead one of the most talented and passionate groups of air traffic controllers, I think, out there in the sim community. So for IFATC, shout out to you all. They do some really good stuff every day. And if you've flown on the expert server, you've probably come in contact with one of them. So, yeah.
Awesome. So everything ATC related is Tyler. it's all
Got
Tyler. Huge props to you. Okay, well, right off the bat, shall we start with 2021? Of course, that year's now behind us, and there was many challenges in that year, and also some fun stuff, and a lot of updates for Infinite Flight, and many 3D airports, which is surprising because 3D airports come out in 21.1, and in the space of a year, I think we had 137, was it, 3D airports by the end, which is
36.
136. It's quite a big number. So I don't know. Have any of us here faced any challenges last year? Should we start some challenges that maybe Laura? I know you've probably stumbled across a few, being one of the main developers here. But Laura, Philippe, Cam, any massive challenges? Any hurdles?
I think the biggest last year was releasing the buildings. And I think I've mentioned it, but at the end of 2019, I had started working on the scenery editor, so adding all kinds of buildings, and then we had sent a first build to editors, and they came up with ridiculously loaded airports that were basically rendering at less than 5 frames per second on PC, and so we had to go back into the code and optimize a whole bunch of things. So Philippe, Kevin and I went back into startup mode, and while Cameron was keeping the ship alive and afloat, and making releases, and we optimized every single thing we could find. But we had set three cameras, and we were looking at performance metrics for those 3 cameras and trying to optimize every single thing we could find. And I think by the end, correct me if I'm wrong, Felipe, went for from 5 FPS to 600 on PC, something like that, right?
I mean, depending on your PC, but yeah, pretty high.
So that was the biggest challenge, and it kind of started in 2019, and we spent the first 3-4 months of 2020. Optimizing all this. Well, actually, no. So it was started in 2019. We're in 2022. So 2019, the scenery editor was started. 2020 was working on the scenery editor, and then end of 2020 was when we realized the performance issues. So basically the Christmas vacation last year and the first 4 months of 2021 were spent optimizing things. Sorry. Got confused with the dates.
Awesome stuff. I mean, buildings. I feel like buildings have made a massive difference to Infinite Flight. I don't hate to say it, but I don't think I really fly to any airports that don't have buildings anymore. They've made such a huge impact, and the traffic between these 3D airports is always insane. And it's always fairly scattered around the world as well, so you can fly anywhere, and the chances are there's going to be at least one pilot in the airport that you're flying into, which is awesome. So there's no really quiet areas around the world now, which is really nice. That's what I really enjoy. That's definitely my favorite update, I believe, as well, with Infinite Flight so far. The buildings have really just taken it to the next level, in my opinion. But I don't know, maybe some of you have some different opinions. What's your favorite update of the 2021?
There were so many.
I have to agree. It's going to be the buildings for me. I think without buildings, it's really hard to judge the scale of things, whether it's like the size of the aircraft or just, the comparison between you and the others around you. But with the buildings, it really kind of like brings everything into perspective. Whether you're doing a flight in a CRJ or something, then you pull up to this massive terminal and you're parked next to a 777. For me, it really just brought everything to life.
One of the challenges for me, by the way, thank you to Nolan, who's first officer on a channel membership. Welcome.
Oh, awesome stuff. Thank you very much.
Actually, we should just let me give a little plug. Part of what I do here too is to develop partner relationships and things like that. And we have been talking to AOPA in the United States, which is the American Owners and Pilots Association, I believe. They have a foundation that does a lot of great work for their nonprofit arm. Does a lot of great work for aviation, and all of our channel membership revenue goes to the AOPA Foundation's Learn to Fly program. And there should be a link in the description if you're interested in getting more info on that. What was I saying? The challenge for me probably it would have started in 2020. I was probably one of the most vocal on the team, not against buildings, but skeptical. I try to sometimes just be the devil's advocate, which Laura's smiling because she wants to smack me sometimes. But there's just the app has, because of our huge community, the app has sort of a life of its own. And we have so many airplanes and features. And so I thought, adding buildings, it's another thing that we promise to iterate on. And can we, with all the things we need to do? And lo and behold, Laura goes and creates this system where we are almost hands off on the building creation right now, with a really cool team of secret team of editors doing, contributing and really having a blast doing it. So what was a challenge for me turned into, just what I think is a great success. So props to Laura and everybody.
I think one of the best parts of this new system is that you have people that are genuinely passionate about the airports that they're creating. So, I may be out of touch with certain European airports, or Jason may not know the intricacies of, a random airport in Florida
Jason knows the intricacies of
Japan or something. But I think it's really cool to see people that, whether they're editing their home airport or if they're really passionate about military, to kind of dive in and really do each individual airport justice. So it's not just here's a generic looking airport that sort of ticks the box. There's the terminal. So I think that's one of the greatest successes, I think, of of the scenery editing and where it's headed.
Yeah, and there's when Philippe and I were designing at least the building aspect, the how we design, not the custom models or the small tiny models that we put around the airport, but the terminal buildings. We had thought of like a system inspired by some papers out there, but when I was just looking at some of the newest airports today, and I don't think we had in mind how they would abuse in a nice way the system to build what they've built today. But it's pretty cool to see, like the detail that they've been able to add into those buildings. I'm amazed every day. It's pretty cool, and it's a small team so far, so I can imagine when it's going to be a bigger team.
Favorite airport? Go, everybody. Favorite airport? 3D airport in Infinite Flight right now.
For me, it's going to be Palma in Mallorca.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, obvious reasons, but
Gatwick for me.
LAX for me.
Oh, SFO for me.
I guess I have
Gatwick.
to say Toronto, but
you're not going to say Paris Sound.
no, it's not. Jack's not done with it yet.
Oh.
It's too big.
Oops, I just leaked. Jack helps with airports. See Daisy.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't know which ones are released or not.
Yeah.
Me neither.
That could have been leaking central right there.
It's annoying because when you're working with this day in and day out, you forget what's there and what isn't. So you say something by accident. So it's already been pointed out in the chat, but last time I revealed that the update was on Monday. I thought it was common knowledge, but no. And everyone's like, "Canvas leaked." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
It was your face when that happened. I know. I looked at your face cam straight away, and you were just like, "Uh-oh."
There was actually a question that came up that I just saw, like, why are we keeping some stuff secret? I guess I can't answer this. The reason why we keep some of stuff we keep things secret is sometimes it doesn't work the way we want, or we realize like we don't have the time to finish what we want to do, so we just keep it secret. We keep it secret until it's good enough to show, and that we're sure that it's going to be released in the next couple. I mean, in the future.
Yeah, there's typically one point where it's hard to define as a developer, where you kind of feel that it's going to be okay. Like it's on a good path. We don't see any kind of major roadblocks that could prevent this feature from shipping, and then we're comfortable talking about it. In the past, I was known to talk more openly about what I was working on, but this backfired quite a few times when people were like, it's not really backfiring, but more like people kept asking us about features that we couldn't do, and we had to explain over and over again why we couldn't ship that particular feature. The fog, like the was not
buildings.
The, fog, the buildings, yeah.
We showed pictures of buildings 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Or, no, maybe not 10 years ago, but 8 years ago.
Yeah, and also did. I think I was tweeting back in the day something where I took an A380 from JFK to Paris with a completely hacked version of Infinite Flight, and I think even Air France responded to my tweet when I said I landed, but it was nowhere near ready. I was completely abusing the system, like the whole everything in the sim, and it was not like we could never ship what was used there. So.
Well, that's how great things start. You start with a hack and you see, okay, this is actually quite cool. This could work. And eventually, I'd say Laura goes off and builds a proof of concept and eventually drags us all in once it's at a stage that is ready for individual input.
On a Saturday morning.
On a Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Great things start on Saturday mornings.
They do.
That's where all the best ideas come from.
Yep.
It's my day off.
Your day off and you go straight back to work.
Right.
No, it's a hobby project.
Oh yeah, exactly. Well, other than that, in 2021 we had quite frequent updates. I'm not sure if we can touch on this, but I mean, there were more or less monthly updates in 2021, and what can we look at in the future in 2022 with update frequency? Do you think, Cam, Philippe, is this a question for you two? I'm not too sure, but maybe we could give some clarity on that for the upcoming year.
Yeah, we're going to keep giving updates as often as we can. Like, I mean, we now have a lot of things that we can share, and it's a good way for us to not keep people waiting too long either. We have new airports, we've got new aircraft, we've got new features, small things from time to time. Like we have a great team of open source. We have an open source project of a great team of people that are contributing language translations, for example, which is a great way to ship this out to people straight away. So yeah, we've done it before. We've done massive updates a couple of times a year, but those are always a lot more stress, both for marketing, because they need to keep on top of everything, and for developers as well, because there's a lot more points of failure. There's a lot more things that can go wrong. So yeah, it just keep you entertained.
Awesome, that's great. I'm sure everybody will enjoy hearing that. So frequent updates, everybody. Have fun. Laura, it's been shared recently. Animated jetways have recently been shared on our media, and this was something that you took on not so long ago and is coming along really, really nicely. Shall we maybe talk about that, and we can show some work in progress shots of that on the screen now?
Yeah, sure. I mean, this started from a stream. Last stream I did with you, there was some question, and people were like, "When are they going to come?" And Philippe and I had discussed this probably like 2 months before, and there was like, there's some times where like you have an idea that you think something is too hard to do, or there's like some constraints, but then when you dig a little more into it, it's not actually that complicated. And also with all the stuff that we've worked on to simplify and all the rendering system, this edition was actually not that hard to do. So I think in about a morning and like a little more than that, I was able to have things move. But it's always, they say 90% of the project takes 10% of the time, and the rest is just polishing, cleaning up. So yeah.
Here we are. As we speak, it's being shown on the screen now. Just a little clip we've put together, a few different shots here of the American 777 with the jetties being attached to the aircraft.
I'm a little like offset with the time of the video, obviously, but so I've gone over every single airport, because there's a question that comes back often: is how do the jet bridges know which aircraft they're supposed to dock to? So I've gone over all the airplanes and set the positions of the doors, including the an angle. So you can see on the 777 here, they're not supposed to be parallel to the fuselage. The first door typically has some kind of angle. So this is something that's set for each individual door, and then the height also is set. And for now, you can only bind two doors on the left, because looking online, it seems like docking to the right seems like it's a very rare thing. So we just kept things simple.
I think one thing that's important to point out is that I'm sure somebody is going to correct me, but this is the only time a simulator has multi-door docking from the get-go, like without any plugin. I don't even think there's any plugins out there that does this. I think most simulators, even desktop simulators, only do one door, and that's it.
Yeah. So in our case here, we also have, if you have a 380, we support the three gates going to 3 doors, including the top one.
Which is pretty cool.
Another questions I think I saw is, will this be visible in live? So Laura, maybe you want to answer that.
So for the first version, no, but it's definitely something we want to work on. it requires some rework on the server side to make sure that we synchronize all these items. And we're trying to build a system that's a little more flexible. So when we add more things that need to be synchronized between all the devices, it's doable without too much extra work. So for now, no, but eventually, yes.
Let's have a look and see what's going on in the chat. Blue Games in the chat. What's up, Blue? Welcome to the stream. Good to see you here. Blue Games. Awesome guy.
Hey, check it out.
Lee's Aviation in the chat. Nice.
Some blue Game hoodie merchandise.
You always wear that. You always wear that.
It's because it's the zips. It's I don't have to. It's easier to put on and off. So that's my go-to.
Do you not have one of the Infinite Flight ones, Jason?
My wife stole that one. So yes, I do, but I don't ever get to wear it.
I've seen some questions in the chat regarding the. I mean, obviously we can't talk about the release date, but when do you aim to release? When do we aim to release the animated jetways? Is that something you would like to touch on, Laura? Like how far is it coming along?
We're gonna try for the next one. It's something that we can easily turn on and off if needed. So if we find that there's too many issues with it, then we're gonna can it and push it for the next ones or further down. But it's in a state right now that it's doable. I'm comfortable saying that it's likely that it comes for next update. Now, the system, while it can theoretically automatically find the jet bridges that are tied to a particular start location, we're not going to automatically enable it for all the airports because sometimes it can lead to weird situations where, especially in the case where you have gates that are really close to each other, it sometimes will pick up a gate, like a jet bridge that's not supposed to be tied to that one, and it goes across things. So we'd rather go over the existing airports, and I've built a system so that the editors can quickly at a glance see if all the start locations that have a jet bridge has the jet bridges that can reach 1, 2, or 3 doors, so they can have a quick overview of what gates need to be looked at. That way, it's easier to just move small objects out of the way of the gates, and that kind of stuff. So the impression is better. And if we're not sure it works, then even if there's a system that even if the airport is work in progress for that part, there's a way to disable the jet bridges for the whole airport without destroying the work. So.
Question actually that I've just thought of. This goes for scenery editors as well, so you could be answering this for them. Objects around jetways. Would the jetway stop? If there's an object in front of it, does it know to stop, or would it?
No. For now, it won't. Maybe at some point it will, but for now, we will rely on the editors to make sure that from the stowed position up to the door, there's nothing on the ground that could collide with the wheels. It's not ideal, but for now it's... Yeah.
This is a more complex problem, especially when we consider, if we want to consider live, because then you need to synchronize all this information between everybody. So this is something that we decided, we know it's not realistic, but we decided to, for now, we provide the feature with that drawback, and that's the way it is.
And this is one of the advantages of the frequent updates as well. We may not have it in the first version, but soon afterwards we'll try and get it to you as soon as it's ready and as soon as we're happy with it.
Awesome.
Yeah, and there's a new it's something that's been in the editor for a while but never be really used. We'll have a way from next update forward to specify for each start location, like when on the ground on the tarmac, when planes are getting to like when marshalers are telling the aircraft to stop, sometimes on the ground it's written A330, 737. There's different stops for different types of aircraft. So we're going to support this, and this is going to help also for the jet bridges, because sometimes the nose wheel for some aircraft goes too far in. If it's a narrow body, it goes too far in, and the jet bridge may collide into a building. But if we have it stop where it should stop in real life, by this hint, it makes more sense. So, yeah.
One last little question from Chris about the jet bridges. Will you have to control them manually to get them to where the door is, or is it just the simple press of a button that automatically brings them into the correct position?
It's a simple press. We could go more granular eventually by assigning, like, for example, if we know how many jet bridges are assigned to the particular location you're at, so you could maybe in the future, when we have life sync, for example, decide that you want this particular jet bridge to go to door number 2, and that's the only one you want to hook up to. So that will may come later, but for now, like, all these features are there. We can move the jet bridge manually. There's an option in the debug panel to move the head and raise the jet bridge. But for now, for simplicity's sake, we just decided to just go ahead and have just a one push.
I'm quite conscious that we have quite a few, and everybody's going to love hearing this, but we have quite a few work in progress photos and videos to show today. 40 OXP in the chat has asked about curves on buildings. This is definitely something we can touch on right now. And to go alongside this, we do have a short video. So, Laura, I think this is another one for you. Laura's being bombarded with all of your questions, but yeah, sure. Let's share a little bit about that now. Pop that onto the screen.
While we're waiting, welcome Nick Masterson to channel membership. Nick, we need to hang out again soon.
Hey Nick, welcome.
We miss hanging out with our community. Hopefully this year. We never know.
I was saying to Jason, the last time most of us were together was 2019, which feels like an eternity ago now.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. It's on the screen. Laura, over to you.
I'm not sure what you're describing, because I can't see it on the.
Oh well, it's shots of LAX.
Yeah. So we've added the Tom Bradley International Terminal at LAX. So this is like an ongoing effort to add more detail and custom buildings to some airports, and this one is iconic. And there's always at least, 1 or 2 aircraft at LAX at any time of the day. So I figured like this was a good candidate to have a custom building for, and it's a good-looking building. So yeah, there you have it, TBIT.
It's awesome. We should be super conscious of the time. We're already 35 minutes in. But can we there are always we wrote a little article on the timeline about this, but and by the way, if you don't watch our developer timeline, we do post extra things on there that are too long for social media and not quite long enough for the blog. infiniteflight.com/timeline. We posted something about how we choose 3D buildings and which ones to add. Can somebody sort of, maybe Cameron or someone, just describe the process there, because we still get tons and tons of requests, but we're not completely in control of that.
For custom terminals?
Custom 3D airports. Yeah.
Objects. Well, so the tool Laura built that we've been discussing earlier is mostly based around procedural things that can be done in the app. So when you want to build something more complex, such as the 3D towers we have at airports, that's when we get our 3D artists involved. So these are professionals, the same people that build our aircraft, and they have the ability to look at the pictures and build something exactly, but using obviously professional tools to do this. So this obviously adds a layer of complexity because there's limited time available for doing every airport like this or doing every object. So we prioritize right now based on what's available. We need to distribute these objects to everyone so that it works. So every time you have a new aircraft, a new airport tower, for example, that needs to be downloaded onto every device, and we load that as a 3D model like we do for aircraft or for other objects around the airport. So it just takes a bit more time, a bit more storage space, and we need to think it through a bit to get it perfect. We do want to start ramping up the way that we add these as well, because they really do make a difference. But our balance that we found to make good airports is to have a lot of options available for our editing team to add objects, and then we can augment it with more realistic models later on down the line as we build them.
But then in terms of like which 3D airports we add,
so right now,
comment on that.
Yeah, that right now, because we have a small team building this at the moment of airport editors, which we're building up as we make more progress with the scenery editor. Sometimes there's a theme to it based around, for example, if there's an ATC schedule that needs certain airports, or we have an aircraft coming out. So our December update had a lot of A220 hubs because the A220 was coming. So naturally, you would want to fly this to places like Riga or other places where the A220 flies. I can't think of any other airports right now. But at the same time, these editors have the ability to choose themselves where they want to do. So they may build their local airport or somewhere that they like or somewhere that's quite influential. And overall, we try and get a balance of airports, both geographically diverse and diverse in terms of types of traffic, because we could add every airport in terms of, for example, every airport that supports the A380, because they're big airports, they're scattered around the world. But that's good for one type of pilot, the ones that likes doing long-haul flights most likely. We also have military pilots, we have GA pilots, we have people that like doing different types of flying. So this is why we may throw in a few different airports like Lukla in Nepal, for example, some of the islands in the Caribbean. These just give a bit more variety for flying types.
Cam, I must say, you're very good at explaining things.
I try.
You are actually very good at explaining things.
Well, thank you.
Very fluent at explaining stuff. Now try it in Spanish.
Vale, empezamos ahora. Tune into infiniteflight.es.
We have, I tried to get us some whip shots of the FA-18. It just to do a transition to that. I don't have any for us, but one of our 3D artists has said that they're starting this one out a little bit differently and using a sort of a newer technology for them, which is based on a grid of control points and proportions. So I don't have any models to share yet, but it sounds interesting.
But tune into the developer timeline.
Yes. Yeah. Maybe I'll try to get a little more info from them and post something.
In which case, I think this is a good opportunity to hand this over to Tyler. If you'd like to talk a little bit about the F-18, you seem to have the most knowledge on this aircraft. So,
yeah, I did a little bit of research for this, and it was a really fun opportunity. We got to kind of, as we alluded to previously last year, of how we would handle the rework process and what aircraft would come next. We recently launched a head-to-head poll between the Hornet and the Super Hornet. The Super Hornet came out on top, offers some cool opportunities, some cool new technology that I think will be really fun to experience. It's kind of like, the A220 of fighter jets in terms of the cockpit layout and some of the screens and stuff like that. So we'll be working on that, but one of the things that we really wanted to do in tandem with that is kind of bring some of our airports to life with some military-specific objects. Anybody that's familiar with a military airport kind of knows that you might see things like sunshades, which you can see here on the screen, or very specific-looking fuel trucks and stuff like that. So our artists were able to bring some of these objects to life, and we'll start to introduce them into a lot of the military airports around the world.
That was a nice transition, Dan.
Yeah, it was really on time, wasn't it? Yeah.
Nice one.
Yeah, I pressed transition and it literally went on the dot. And it was such a satisfying feeling.
Yeah. What are we seeing here, Tyler?
These are munition carts. So you commonly see any of the bombs, rockets, anything like that being carried around base. You'll see them on the flight line pretty often whenever they're loading up any of the aircraft for one of their missions, sorties, stuff like that. What else do we have?
We have next one I've named as military car thing because I don't know what this is.
Okay, let's see.
It should come on any second now.
So that's officially known as the military car thing. So what it is, it's a K loader, so it's kind of like a forklift, but you can imagine pallets being on there, and whether you have like a C-17 or something like that, where the back ramp is level, the K loader can actually drive up to it, and a vehicle or pallets or anything just rolls straight off from there onto the back of the aircraft.
Are these things large? Are they quite big?
They're pretty large. They have a couple different sizes of them, but the large K loaders are pretty massive.
Well, it'd be awesome to, especially for the military folks, to be able to eventually see these at their favorite military airports in the future. Because that's another part of the community that we have. We also have a lot of military supporters as well. And of course, with the F-18 coming, that'll make them super, super happy. Which is great, because we have a lot of commercial aircraft. So
we debated on what to share today, but since some of this stuff is pretty close to releasing, stay tuned for over the next few weeks, because we have a bunch more that we're going to share with you. And then we'll transition from showing these objects on their own to sharing them in context, which looks incredible. My team knows very well. I'm not a military person at all, and I don't know much about it, but it looks pretty sweet. I will have to say.
It does look quite cool.
Yeah.
It does look quite cool. So, moving further into 2022, we do have another aircraft, which I'm sure everybody's aware of, the ERJ. Shall we touch on this one a little bit? I do have some work in progress photos. I don't know who would love to take the mic for this one, because I don't really know too much about this, the Embraer family, but I'm more than happy to hand it over to someone who wants to take the lead here.
Yeah, we don't have our... we don't have our expert on stream
exactly.
today.
That's the thing.
I flew on one 2 weeks ago, so I'll gladly take this and explain it.
Bingo. There we go. Cam, over to you.
So you get on, you sit down. No, wait, sorry, that's my flight. So we're doing the E-Jets next, as Dan mentioned. So you've probably seen them in Infinite Flight already. It's a model that we've had from 2013, maybe.
Next is quite after the F-18.
Yeah, in the pipeline. It's in the pipeline. And so for this, because there are 4 separate variants, they're all fairly different, and there's a selection of liveries that are not specific to all of them, or that they're different between the different types. We've chosen just to do the E175 and the E190. The E175 is the smaller version. It's a little bit shorter than the E190. It has smaller wings, I believe, as well. This is mainly used in North America, so there's a lot of US liveries, regional carriers that use it. For example, Deer Crusher flies one of our moderators, so it is quite known within our community as well. And the E190 is used a bit more globally, so it's definitely used around Europe a lot. It's used in South America and a bunch of other places. So doing these two, we'll give a bit of both worlds. So in terms of liveries, you'll have the liveries from all over the world, and it's suited for different types of flying. So you can see here on the screen are just some shots from Yano, our 3D artist who's been building this. This is how the aircraft start, by the way. It's normally very bare bones. We spend a lot of time trying to get this right and make it look properly in relation to the real model. So it starts off with doing the main fuselage and the inside of the cabin where the windows will be. There are some common elements that will be shared between the two aircraft. So the cockpit is identical between the two, I believe. Other parts will be a bit different and need a little bit more work to be done. But it's a great aircraft. There'll be different types of flying for the A220. It's mainly shorter routes. It'll go into cool airports like London City. I'm looking forward to it. I think a lot of people are as well.
It just opens a a lot of route opportunities. So, small aircraft, I mean, I personally really like wide bodies on short haul routes, and I'm sure everybody watching has picked that up from me saying it 101 times during some of the live streams, but it's definitely going to be a fun one. Same as the A220, that one's been super fun to fly into loads of different types of airports and routes that I've never even thought of flying before. I have done now, which is great, and you can explore more of the world. Philippe,
I think this is cool because I think it kind of brings us back to some of the original 3D airports as well, because as we release new ones, we may forget about some of the ones in the original batch. So I think new aircraft like this always kind of bring us back and get to re-experience some of the airports in terms of just like the bread and butter type of aircraft that they see every day. So that should be pretty cool.
There have been a lot of requests in the chat, so I just want to take that as an opportunity to remind people, if you have a request or an idea for Infinite Flight, we have a dedicated area of our forum, our community forum. So if you go to community.infiniteflight.com and go to our features category, that's where we keep and track all of the feature requests, of which there are many. But that's the way you can usually find your feature request already done, and you can give it a vote. And that's really the best way to have your voice heard, just because it's too hard for us to track in the live chat and on social media.
There we go. Philippe, I believe you have something interesting to mention, so I'm going to hand the mic over to you now and let you take the lead, and I'm sure everybody's going to be very happy about this one, but away you go.
All right, lights, because I've seen this like many times, specifically taxiway lights. We're talking about better runway lights, because obviously like right now our runway lights are very basic. I don't think we have much approach lights also. So those are things that are being I've been actively worked on, and will release hopefully like soon ish. And so we are working on those, on taxi lights. Those lights are not gonna illuminate the ground or illuminate your plane. It's just gonna help you figure out where you are and how to get to your place. The reason why it's taking a little bit of time is because we needed the all the work that we did for airports, for 3D buildings to be done. There was a lot of work there to redo, to make those to allow those lights to be efficient, and also performance wise, with every single taxiway light and edge lights, we're talking about thousands and thousands of lights out there that needs to render at 60 frames per second on hopefully as many devices as possible. So we're taking great care in making sure that this will have minimum impact in your experience in Infinite Flight.
Philippe, what's the plan as you pan the camera back? Let's say you have a view that can see 4 airports in California. How do the lights work in that situation?
So it's a little complicated. It's just based on the distance. It will just fade away. But okay, it will depend on, like, each light has its own intensity. So a very bright light, you should be able to see it from further away. Also, all our lights are aimed accurately, like according to FAA specifications. So you, like, a light that's supposed to have this kind of beam angle, you will see it. I mean, the optimal way to see it will be within that beam angle. So this is all. There's like hundreds and hundreds of pages of specification for each and every lights that you can see on taxiways and runways, and this is what we're going through.
So you're saying if I stand at one end of the runway and I walk around and stand at the other side, I'll get a different view of the lights based on that? Absolutely.
I mean, based on what the editor put in, because often you don't have you have different approach lights, and also like sometimes you only have one end that you land on at a time. So one end will have a full, ALSF FS2 approach, and the other end will just be an end. So
Sweet. How do then? You can feel free to decline to answer this, but then lights that do illuminate, such as like landing lights and parking lot lights and windsock lights and things like that, tail lights, anything. Does this relate, or are they different?
It's different, but it's made. We're trying to make it so like to use kind of the same code path for this. Like similarly, the biggest challenge is that it's to make it look good based on the intensity of each light and the color of each light, and especially to make it look good also in daytime and nighttime. Like nighttime, you can see a light, like a bright light, you can see it very, very far, but daytime, the same light, you're not going to see it very far. So there's a lot of problems. I mean, problems that there's solution to them, but to solve them on a mobile phone is a little bit challenging. So this is something that we're working on. I mean, we have some prototype of I mean, you've all seen those prototypes, but it's going to take a little longer to see them in the app.
How was the performance when you first started this lighting work? I can imagine it was quite laggy, to say the least, on your end when you first started this.
Well, I mean, Laura did a proof of concept, and it's not great. I mean, it's not as bad as the buildings were, but definitely was not great on the big airports that have, like, when we enable like all the lights, like taxi and edge lights, plus runway and approach. But that's my job right now. It's to make that as fast as possible. So
I tricked Philippe into working on this.
I worked on it a long time ago to come back to it. You tricked me into coming back to it. Yes.
Because since we had all the scenery editor, it was just a matter of like enabling the lights.
I mean, the whole work, airport, the scenery editor and work that was done to improve airports is kind of made this much easier now.
Yep. And
this is how a lot of development happens at Infinite Flight. Laura just enables it, and then we're kind of coerced into working on it.
All right, let's maybe move on because the hour is.
Yeah, should we look at some? Should we look at some more questions?
Yeah, I was about to say.
We've been sort of popping some into our Discord chat here. Butter Zero asked quite a while ago, are you going to add the clear livery mode that allows us to have, I think they mean allows us to have our own liveries, or just more in general. So I think that's what they're asking.
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Like a generic white one, so they can repaint the liveries, right?
Any plan to add custom user liveries, I guess, would be a better way to say it.
I guess, I mean, I can take this one, and it's mostly the problem to solve is to allow everybody else to see it. I'm assuming if you want to do a livery, you want other people to see it in live. That's the issue. And livery currently is what uses the most of our bandwidth. Because those are very high, have a high resolution for most of our liveries, and so yeah, it takes a lot of bandwidth. It increased the download time. Whenever you see an airplane come in, like in live, it increased the time that it will show up. There's a lot of things like that because we have such a big like live community, online community. We have to think about those things a little bit more. But definitely it's something we've talked about internally, and we'll try to do at some point.
That said, we do have some surprise liveries coming up for existing aircraft, in updates coming up.
That'd be great.
Well, it's not surprising anymore.
Tyler, do you want to? Well, we haven't said which ones. I guess we already said that. We already said that in the blog article, the year in review. Yeah. Do you want to spoil one, Tyler?
Ooh.
Dun, dun, dun.
Drum roll.
Laura, you need
How
your sound
about
effects.
the Fly Pegasus 737-800? That'll
There you
be
go.
joining the fleet here soon. Which they really do fly some awesome routes. Some domestic routes in Turkey with beautiful scenery. So I think that one's going to be really cool. It'll open up some nice opportunities.
For sure. I feel like we should.
Dan,
We,
Dan says so enthusiastically. Sure.
for sure.
He's like, well, it's not Gatwick, so
It's not Gatwick, so I don't want to know. No.
Who cares?
No, we're creeping up on the hour quite quickly. We've got around 4 minutes until we reach the hour. Maybe we should answer some final questions here and then call it a day for this stream. So if you're watching right now, 368 people watching live, and I must say, I can see on my end that the amount of views we've had on this stream is absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much for tuning in. The numbers have been high throughout. But if you've got any final questions, now is your chance to throw them in the chat, and we'll try and put out a couple of them. Not all of them, because of course you ask a lot. But
Yeah.
we'll try our best to put out a couple of questions here as we go.
While we're looking at questions, while our team is looking, we're not going to share it today, but we have a cool one of these other Laura Saturday morning coding features coming up for airports. That's going to be really fun.
Exciting stuff.
Mm-hmm. It seems like a small thing, but it's super cool and interactive. So I'm just gonna let that hang.
Question. Okay, from Varan, I believe that's how you pronounce. I do apologize if I've incorrectly pronounced your name. But can we have a delivery frequency as well? Is this something we could look into in the future? A delivery frequency? I feel like that would be quite cool, but I'm not too sure what challenges will pose.
We've talked about it quite a few times, and I think what you mentioned, it's really just there's extra challenges. It's not as simple as just here's clearance delivery, because I think there's a lot of interfacing and stuff that has to go into that. And really, there kind of has to be a change in the entire process in the way you file a flight plan. And somebody staffing that frequency is reviewing that flight plan and sending your amendment. And another big part of clearance delivery is flow times and expect departure clearance times and your release time. You know, how do we notify the user of when their wheels up time is, for example. So I think it's a really cool problem to have, because as our airports are getting busier, we have to find ways to manage that flow. So I do think it's something that, hopefully we can introduce in the future. But I think there's a lot of stuff to kind of figure out in terms of the intricacies of how the end user actually operates with a system like that. But it's very high on my list of wants, you could say.
I think it'd be quite cool. Definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Avia Byron said shared cockpits. Laura, would you like to take the mic for this one?
Sure. So we don't have anything much to share about like shared cockpits in particular, but so Cameron and I are building systems to allow more cooperation and things that would be going to and from the server to allow maybe not shared cockpits, but things like this. So maybe. There's many things in progress at this point that we haven't talked about.
I think I mentioned it in a previous stream where I was mentioning spectator mode or something, where we talked about this on a stream. Being able to add a friends list and watch your friends and hop into the cockpit. Then you was like, we might as well call it a different game or something. Something along the lines of that.
One thing to keep in mind as well is with all of this, as Tyler said, there are a lot of moving parts, a lot of things we need to consider. We are doing a lot of the groundwork for a lot of these features right now. So we're working on improvements to our multiplayer servers and the communication of data between, synchronizing it between other players. There are a lot of things that we need to take into account and design good systems for that are solid to allow this. But we basically, if you want it, we want it as well.
Yeah.
Right. And
Maybe you just need a
like...
spin-off app called Infinite Spotter.
Yeah.
And there's often
Flight.
Yeah, third-party app developers, you have your mission.
I'm sure
Sorry,
someone
Laura,
can
go
All right,
figure something
I'll
out.
take a couple. I'll take a couple of questions that I saw real quick. Sound update for the A220. Still, it's still in the plan. We don't have a date now, but like Cameron just said, if you want it, we want it also. Terrain over 60 degrees in the future. Sure. We don't know yet. This is the problem: is to find good, clean, clean data source for this, and it also takes a long time to process. But it's something that also, if we want it as well, but no clear plan on this. And I think I saw also like new satellite imagery. We do not have any plan for new satellite imagery. I think the one that we have is good enough for flying, but we do plan on improving the VFR kind of quality by adding some refinement to the terrain, starting that work fairly soon. So yeah.
Another thing that so there's going to be some focus on the next update, or maybe may slip into the next ones with the ground stuff. So obviously the jet bridges and the features that Jason was talking about. There's also things that we've been working on with ground taxi instructions. So that's in the works, and it could be coming soon. It needs server work, so it depends on Cameron and some of the stuff he's working on. So we can start like actually testing it.
It definitely does make ground control a bit more engaging, and instead of just the open-ended taxi to runway 33 right, I think we can really improve on the specific instructions and organize the flow of our airports, and that kind of is a precursor to the hopes of one day steering towards clearance delivery and
leave the stream on
always improving.
Leave the stream on a slight cliffhanger there and not say too
Yeah.
much. No more answers for that one.
Basically, it depends on my server, is what they're trying to say.
No pressure.
Yeah,
Right,
I'd
back
love
to work.
Cameron.
Bye.
I'm not too sure if any of you guys have any final questions to answer, as in Jason, Laura, Philippe, Kai, anybody. If
Yeah.
you'd like to answer any more questions, then
I can't answer this, but Leah was wondering about if the train map is going to come back at any point.
Val has left the chat.
Yeah. He's watching.
He is.
I know.
Do we know? Is it something that we can be cool to incorporate into our displays?
It's not really in the plan currently, but I guess it goes hand in hand with what I mentioned about the terrain over 60 latitude. But yeah, it's not really. It's not in the immediate priority right now. We would like it.
Val says he's working on it.
Yeah. He forgot to check it in.
Yeah. Come on, Val. If anyone knows Git
Come
more
back,
than any of the
Val.
rest of us, it's you.
the terrain map was quite cool. I do remember it. The old days, the regional days. You used to make a flight plan around the entire region, and then
And if you went out of the region, your throttle cut.
your throttle cut exactly, and then you would land after like a 4-hour flight around the region, and your landing gear would be shaking like crazy.
Tyler, we spent
Come a
so
long
much
ways.
time in Spitfires hopping around
Yeah,
islands in California and stuff.
it's crazy how far we've come.
Yeah.
Well, there we have it. I feel like we should now wrap up this stream. It's been a blast to be able to show some more work in progress photos, as always, and of course have some team members on here today to talk to you all and answer very many questions and show some really cool stuff. I'm not too sure if you guys would like to say any final words before I say mine, but thank you all for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for being Infinite Flight users and community members. We wouldn't be doing this without all of you, and so thank you so much. Thank you to the people who became channel members today, and we want to just give one more little plug for the AOPA Foundation. You can check the link in the description, and yeah, I guess that's it from me. Thank you for coming along for the ride with us.
Yeah,
Yep,
I'll just
thank you,
echo
and
that.
please-
Go, you go, Tyler. All yours.
I was just going to say, please reach out to any one of us anytime. I think our inboxes are always open. If there's something that we can help explain a little bit better, or just address any issues and stuff, we love interacting with everybody. And hopefully, this is the year we get to see some of you in person as well.
Oh,
Indeed.
That'd
Oh,
be nice.
also, sorry, before I actually finish, I want to say thank you to our moderators as well. They work constantly 24/7 behind the scenes, and they sometimes have to take a lot of heat, and they do a really awesome job at not only moderating on our live servers, but on our community forum, and they've been helping moderate in this live chat as well. So thank you to all of you guys.
Big thank you.
We
You
appreciate
guys are
it.
awesome.
Big thank you.
Kai.
And let's
Okay,
let's
now I'm
give let's give props to Kai as well for staying
Yeah,
up. for all
yeah, I
this.
was about to
Yeah,
say.
yeah.
Sleep.
I just keep seeing comments in the chat like Kai looks so sleepy, and yeah, because I am. It's now 4 a.m. I'm going straight back to bed after this.
Good plan.
Amazing.
What time do you have to wake up in the morning? Are you going to get like 2 hours of sleep or something?
Maybe a little bit more than that. Maybe.
You need it. You need it. Well, awesome stuff. My final words, I would like to say thank you very much for watching yet again in that Infinite Flight stream. It's been amazing to be able to have everybody on here and talk about all of this awesome stuff. And I'm sure that all of you have enjoyed watching this one. It's been a very special one and very different to normal. Maybe we can do a couple more of these in the future. I'm not sure how frequent they'll be, but there's definitely time for more of these, maybe this year. But with that being said, thank you all very much for watching yet again another stream. And we'll all see you in the next one. Goodbye, everybody. Take care. Keep the dirty side down. Everybody wave.
Wave aggressively.
Like Regan done. Goodbye.
Cheers, Dan.